So we are back in the barn, and I'm with probably the most stylish looking dudes of the whole weekend. It is the Supersonic Blues Machines. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Hey, thank you for having us.
You look wonderful, I've got to say.
You too.
Well, likewise. Thank you so much for the compliments.
I love the get up. So how's Ramblin' Man been for you so far?
Muddy.
Well, it's been
great.
It's
No, fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Well, the sun is because of us. Coming from California, we brought some with us. So just to, light up the day. But no, it's beautiful. It's great. A great experience. And we're just so thrilled and excited to be playing here in the UK today. It's our UK debut. And this is like where pretty much most of the blues was retreated and it was sent back home for us to be kind of like re-enjoyed it. So we're taking so much, joy in listening to those bands and, getting inspiration from it, that being here and play today for the UK public is just like a, dream come true. So we couldn't be more happier.
And who do you think is the Rambling Man? Who is the Rambling Man?
I was going to ask you that.
If I had a Rambling Man in my head, it would definitely look like you.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I thought I would have been Gibbons, but
yeah, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
that's a good. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm super excited. It's good to see such a variance of music here, and it's all music that we love too. So it's really cool to see all these great bands and to see so many friends. There's so many friends of ours playing. It's really cool.
Yeah, there are, aren't there? Are you going to have any of them join you on stage?
I brought one of my childhood friends, a guy I grew up with, a guy named Eric Gales, guitar player from Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, Eric's going to play with us, and Eric and I grew up playing together, and
you're definitely going to hear that.
And it's so great that he's been involved with us, and he was on our first album, and we're going to make our UK debut with Eric.
Do you think Billy might join you on stage? Because he's played with you live a few times, isn't he?
Well, actually, he's our godfather. We call him Uncle, and he's the reason why pretty much we started the band. I mean, it was the final blessing to start the band. But, in a situation like this, there's a lot of politics coming into play, and, they're about to celebrate their 50th anniversary and stuff. So I don't really know if that's going to be a possibility. We'll definitely embrace it if it happens. Otherwise, we'll try to do our best to give you a great Supersonic show.
Yeah, I mean, Billy's involvement with the beginning of Supersonic was instrumental. I mean, he was the one that brought... Not necessarily brought us together, but brought the idea of the band initially coming together. So, it's so great to be here with them. And I mean, where I'm from, ZZ Top is it's kind of like the Rolling Stones for you guys.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in Texas. That's ZZ Top is like our version of that. So it's a big deal to be here today.
And there was quite a few, you say like Billy was the godfather of you guys, but there was quite a few famous names that were sort of helped make this happen as well, wasn't there?
Well, the thing is, Billy is, we've been friends for a long time, and we've been working on several different projects together, as much as Lance. Lance knows him since he was a young kid. Billy wanted to record a song that was actually for, commercial use. And at the end of the day, for whatever reason, we had to find a different home for that song. Billy suggested to write 9 more songs and to start a band. And I'm like, okay. I didn't really give it that much importance. But then his following sentence was like, and what are you doing in these days? And I said, well, I'm writing some songs, I'm working on some songs with a fellow Texan of yours. And he says, like, who's that? It's Lance Lopez. And he's like, that's the guy that you want to consider starting a band with. I was like, okay. So I called him. I said, hey, Gibbons says that we should start a band. And he says, like, cool, let's do it. And he says, who plays drums? Which, well, I think I know a guy called Kenny, and Kenny was in. So that was actually the starting, was like us and Billy supposed to come in and out and doing things. But then, because of all the work that we do and all the friends that we have, it's just such a list of, brothers, there are great musicians. Some of them are really famous, some of them not necessarily as famous, but not necessarily less talented. And we said, how about we have a band, we're doing a record, we go out as a band, so we have a real excuse to bring all our friends around and have, these incredible parties live and just, use our songs as a starting point, and then let's see what happens. And that's pretty much the idea. So we got Warren Haynes on board. We got Eric Gills,
Walter Trout,
and Chris Duarte.
Actually, Walter, the song he did with us was the first song he recorded after being very ill. So Walter went through a pretty serious illness and had to have a liver transplant. Almost didn't survive, and had to relearn how to play guitar.
I know. I interviewed him here last year. Incredible story.
So that was the first thing he recorded.
Yeah, we're so
Was
grateful and blessed to consider that on our record we have such important song like the one that we did with Walter, and that being the first thing that he did musically after his I don't know, like near-death experience, or like rebirth, if you want to call it, but rebirth in the real sense, because, the guy was like, the doctor told his family, hey, he's got 48 hours, you might want to get your kids here. So, I mean, the guy he knew that he was about to die until that call came in. He was choppered out, liver transplant. He wakes up and he's still alive, and he's got new liver. And he says, oh, wow, I can still play some music. And the first thing that he decides to do is, playing a song with us. I mean, that's just mind-blowing to me.
I saw him perform a B.B. King song with you, which was just incredible. I mean, and he tells a great story how he met B.B. when he was 16 years old, and then obviously they became great friends after that. Who was the blues artist that made you want to become a bluesman?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, the thing that did it for me was B.B. King. Growing up where I did, in the time that I did, the music that I was getting exposed to that was blues was coming from here.
Yeah.
Bands from here were how I discovered the blues, and I would read the liner notes on the vinyl back then and see like Robert Johnson or Skip James or all these different blues people. So I had to start backtracking. So I started beginning to go that direction, and then we moved from Louisiana to Texas, and I went to see B.B. King perform, and with B.B. King was Stevie Ray Vaughan, and they played together. I had no idea who Stevie Ray Vaughan was.
Wow.
And I just went to see B.B. King, and when I saw those two play together, I was maybe 10 feet away from them, and that was the first blues jam that I ever witnessed, about 10 feet in front of my face. So from that point on, the next morning I woke up and said, I think the blues is kind of where I want to be at. And but yeah, initially it came from Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page for me.
Yeah.
And then I went backwards that way, and then once I got into those guys is kind of where it all started happening.
Yeah, it's pretty much, I would say, with both Kenny and I can speak for Kenny too, even though Kenny actually ended up playing with a lot of those guys, the legendary guys, we kind of like have the same, I would say, attraction to the blues, which is actually was, like I was saying before, what we got back from the UK. That was the UK take on the original guys. Lance is probably the most original, not hardcore, but kind of like, he's a living encyclopedia. He knows everything and everybody from like 1917, whatever it is, up to now, whatever they played, the songs, the tuning. Him and Gibbons can go on for hours with that. Kenny and I are real great blues lovers, but kind of like we like to take that lessons and kind of like trying to find where the blues ended up being from the original recipe, in kind of like fueling a lot of other artists that became subsequential to the original dudes, and they kind of like influenced pretty much the old scene of everything that we like. So, Kenny again recorded with B.B. King, and then John Fogerty and Dr. John and all these guys. Again, for me, it was more like the black exploitation of the 60s and the 70s, funk and R&B. But our music, it's blues based, but it's mired at the future, and that's why we share. I would say the UK lesson of the Stones and Cream and all those guys that took Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters, and they took it to space back in the 60s, because, that's pretty much what it was. Well, we're kind of like with the supersonic rocket that we're riding, we're just trying to take that to the next century, but obviously in a respectful way.
Yeah. So can anyone play the blues? Can anyone?
You know what?
B.B. King said it best. And BB King says you don't have to have to live the blues to play the blues, but it helps. So,
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Enough said. Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
On that note.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.